All right, so here's a pretty little empty concept coming from the Rams right now. They've got trips bunched to the right, the offense's right side. They've got just a two receiver kind of condensed split to the boundary here, and they're getting a cover four look from the Cowboys. And just going off this game film in the season, the Cowboys were primarily a cover four team. So on empty, I think the Rams were expecting the Cowboys to get into a cover four look. That's kind of what they expected. Now, just walking through what empty assignments are going to mean in cover four, we know we have our quarter and our quarter. That's the easy part. And there's a million different forms to cover for, so that could mean a number of things. However, there is one part that's going to be consistent, which is that the mic is generally speaking going to have to be initially responsible for three. Okay, and that's an important indicator here because what's happening is we know we're going to remove the mic to the wide side of the field. A lot of times, number three is a back in 2x2, so the mic is able to stay contained into the box. But if we go trips and we extend our number three a little bit, in this case, it's still relatively condensed split, but make him walk out to that a little bit, we can create a lot of space in the middle of the field, which means in a lot of short concepts, we can really isolate the will on these two receivers. Now, you might do that through like a levels concept or a drive, and that's fine. You know, those plays are fine. But it looks like what here, Sean McVay wanted to come up with something a little bit more clever. Okay. Now, in cover four, the will is going to be initially responsible for the release of number two. That's what he's going to key originally. Okay. So what's going to happen right now is you can see him looking at number two, and the Rams switch released these two receivers. So you can see Jaylon Smith here is now keying this player here because they're going to switch release, and he is expecting this guy to be the new number two. Okay. And what he's going to do is he's going to try to open to that. And by opening to that, when this guy switched and comes back underneath, it means that Jaylon Smith is now out of position because he was keying a vertical release from what he thought was the number two release after the switch. And now there's no mic inside to help. So they managed to get a very easy completion, to Tyler Higbee, who, no offense to Tyler Higbee, but he's not exactly the fastest guy in the league. It's just a way of scheming guys open, right? So if we just watch this play through right now, we get the outside release from the tight end, then he jumps back in. You can see Jaylon Smith was about to try to indicate that he was covering the new number two, and by that point, it's too late. He's gone. Right? Outside release, bring it in, bang, very simple. Okay? A very clean, simple, empty concept, and definitely goes to show that in a lot of, especially high school circles and even some college circles, the prevailing wisdom ends up being, well, let's throw to numbers and play to numbers. But a lot of times in the passing game, it's better to play where there's less numbers. Do I want to play 3-on-3 or do I want to play 2-on-1? I'd rather play 2-on-1, right? I got a guy over the top. I've got these two guys low and here. If I can just isolate this guy on these two, I feel pretty good about that. Right, so throwing to the weak side, running to the weak side, becoming more and more common in the NFL, and even doing it from empty here. Nice little wrinkle from Sean McVay. Switch release to get the will covering the wrong number two, and then we just work back underneath, and we get a very cheap, easy completion that really any tight end in the NFL could have executed that play just fine.